Thank you for joining us. Kabul's international airport is up and running. A civilian commercial flight has taken off from the Afghan capital for the first time since it fell to Taliban forces last month. These are exclusive pictures of the plane leaving. It's a domestic service bound for the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif. Its departure follows repairs to the runway and radar with the help of technical teams from Qatar and Turkey. Let's bring in Charles Stratford, who's live for us in Kabul. Charlie, an important day today for Kabul Airport, even if it's not fully operational yet.
That's right, a very significant day in terms of Afghanistan's hopes for being able to have access to vast amounts of desperately needed humanitarian aid and being able to freely move around this country and potentially around the world as well. We understand that there has been a second commercial flight taken off since that one to Mazar-i-Sharif earlier, another commercial flight having taken off for Herat. We have seen an incredible effort put in by technical staff, especially from Qatar and we believe Turkey also in recent days, trying to put in as much repairing of the runway, of various bits of technology, reinstalling things like radar and so on. Bear in mind that according to the UN, around half this country's population, that's around 20 million people, are in desperate need of urgent humanitarian aid. So the opening of this airport, although it is just the beginnings, is of huge importance. And earlier today we had the Qatar ambassador who was down on the tarmac and he was speaking to the media. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
Soon we will achieve everything, and we are doing an assessment of the progress so far, also assessing the damage that was done by the masses of people who had come to the airport. Hopefully, in a short period of time, we will be able to achieve everything. We have been able technically to put the airport in operation, and you can see this aircraft just landed, and more will come tomorrow and the day after tomorrow.
More diplomatic moves have also happened today in Kabul. The head of Pakistan's spy agency, the ISI, Faiz Hamid, has come into Kabul, we believe, for talks. Certainly, we understand possibly with the Qataris. And now Pakistan of huge importance, obviously, a large neighbour sharing a border of around 2,500 kilometres. We understand the focus of the attention will be on Pakistan's security and refugee concerns. Pakistan already plays host to around 3 million Afghan refugees from previous conflicts and war. And although the West has accused Pakistan, or accused elements within the Pakistani military and intelligence in the past of actually helping to fund the Taliban, which of course the Pakistanis have hugely denied, there is no denying that Pakistan does have influence here over the Taliban and is very keen, obviously, to see stability here because of the potential ramifications across the border. Pakistan is also potentially being seen as a linchpin between the West and the Taliban. So, yeah, diplomatic movements on that front as well. But some positive news today out of Kabul from the airport.
Thank you for that, Charlie. Charles Stratford live for us there in Kabul. Well, let's now speak to aviation specialist Alex Macheras, who joins us via Skype here in Doha. Alex, very good to have you on the show. So as Charlie said there, an important day. Talk us through the kind of work that went into getting Kabul airport up and running again. The airport, I understand, was in a terrible state, a lot of damage to the runway, basic infrastructure destroyed. What are some of the equipment and technical systems that were needed to get it up and running again?
Well, it's still very early days, Folly, and that's because Afghanistan as a country right now is still without air traffic control provisions. The flights mentioned by your reporter on the ground are currently being told that they can only be domestic flights, and so they are Afghan airlines, and also they are only able to operate in the daylight hours, and that is because right now this is still an airport that is pretty much totally off limits, not just to the rest of the world, but it's still not yet fit for any kind of significant return of commercial service that Afghanistan had just a month ago. But in terms of the technical teams that are on the ground now, we know that Qatar, in collaboration with Turkey, are leading the efforts to ensure the basics, the fact that the runway and the surface of the runway is secure and intact, because there was a lot of damage that was reported after the dramatic events on the 15th and 16th of August. In addition to that, we know that they are working to try to secure an element of air traffic control provisions that are primarily for aircraft that require little to no assistance in arriving, really to deliver aid. They are very reliant on that aid, as you explained.
Right.
And so having these military aircraft to be able to come in is that priority first.
I was going to ask you about the priorities now. As you say, the airport is not fully operational. What is the top priority right now? Because everyone, of course, wants to get aid into Afghanistan. What needs to happen at the airport for that to be possible?
Well, there needs to be some kind of establishment of security, that's first. And we know that Qatar say that they are in talks with the Taliban to try to convince them that they must accept a foreign security presence if this airport is going to welcome back any kind of commercial airline jet, be it passenger or cargo. Sheikh Mohammed Abdulrahman, the foreign minister of Qatar, told media yesterday that he was convincing the Taliban aviation security is a little more than just securing the perimeter or the airport site itself. We need to have the international community assured that there are people, qualified individuals on the ground, able to supply air traffic control provisions, able to guarantee the safety of these aircraft. And I think we are still a way off of that at the moment. Right now, we will have only these aircraft that are able to ultimately use the environment in an uncontrolled manner, but it's not sustainable for the long term. And that's why these efforts are underway to ultimately establish something that is more sustainable and has the technical support.
And how long, Alex, do you think until we see international flights operate again from that airport? There might be a political element involved in that, I imagine.
For sure. So what we know at the moment is that if countries like Qatar and Turkey, with their NATO allies, are able to secure the airport site in a manner that gives assurance to the rest of the world in terms of security and safety for airliners, then that message will be spread among the aviation community. But to be very honest, Folly, it's going to take a lot of convincing and reassurance to have a foreign airline fly not just over Afghanistan, because overflight is off limits now too, but to Afghanistan. We're talking about aircraft that are insured by third-party companies and leasing companies that will say, no, airline, you are not able to take this aircraft there because we can't guarantee that it will get out in the state that we require it, and so on. There are so many complications and hurdles to overcome. The provisions of fuel, for example, will these aircraft be able to be refueled on the ground or not? Engineers on the ground, you know, the worry about the brain drain and the fact that a lot of skilled personnel have left Afghanistan. What does that mean for situations unfolding with aircraft that are going tech, for example? So all of these hurdles have to be cleared, and it's going to take a lot, not just to get aircraft to fly over Afghanistan, a very key overflight region, but to have them operate to and from the country.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Alex. Thank you for your insights. Always good to have you on the show. Alex Macheras joining us there from Doha.